Hi there, my name's Alex. In this short video, I'm going to talk to you about my experience as a gay man thriving with HIV. Recovery Devon and It's All About You Wellbeing have worked in partnership to create a series of videos which look at mental ill health, recovery and well-being from people from the LGBTQ community. I think that Friday the 17th of April 2015 at 12:30 p.m. is a date and time that will always be etched in my memory, and it really marks a shift in kind of life, how I knew it. At the time I lived in Brighton and I was walking my friend's dog on the beach, and I received a call from the clinic. I'd broken up with my boyfriend 2 weeks before and was already in quite a dark place, and I had no idea kind of what was about to happen or what was around the corner. When I did get up to the hospital, they broke the news that I was HIV positive, and in that moment the world kind of felt like it was crashing down around me, and I remember being sick in a bin in the room, and just being in a really, really dark place. I think there were so many questions and so many unknowns. I was born in the early 90s and didn't live through the AIDS epidemic, so I knew absolutely nothing, and that was frightening. As it was a Friday, I remember walking out of the clinic and a lot of the services weren't available over the weekend, and things would be picked up on a Monday. And there was a dark moment where I, contemplated suicide at that point. But then my phone buzzed, and I remember it was a message from my friend, and it was just enough to tip the balance and bring me back from the edge in that moment. I think one of the things that I decided very early on was that I wanted to be an open book about being positive, and actually by hiding it would kind of reinforce some of the stigma around HIV. So for me, owning it kind of minimised the shame and actually combated the stigma that can still exist around HIV. I was really fortunate to have the support of my friends and family, even very early on. So actually establishing a support network really has been a lifeline for me. A lot's changed in the time since I've been diagnosed, and even the last 5 years, PrEP is kind of more in the mainstream now, which is great, and there's various trials and things that can be accessed. So that has actually reduced stigma. So I've actually seen like a societal change, which has been great in even in the last sort of 5 years. I think there's a major challenge around grief and sort of self-esteem after diagnosis, and for a long time I didn't think that I was kind of worthy of sex or relationships, so I actually backed off from that for a couple of years, and in that time made some other changes in my life. So I wanted to change career, so I went back to university and did another course, and I moved to a different city. For a while I kind of wanted the time and space to process everything and reevaluate. So the biggest challenge for me has been around dating and relationships, and I think after 5 years that has got easier, but I would say it's only very recently that has felt more comfortable, and for me a big part of that was firstly having the time to process it, and secondly accessing counselling to really put some elements of my diagnosis to bed. So for me, it was a lot of stuff kind of pre-diagnosis, and the kind of relationships that I was seeking before. I think what therapy highlighted for me was that I was seeking relationships and making choices that were quite unhealthy, and that I carried a lot of shame. So it was a real case of looking at the bigger picture of my mental health, pre-diagnosis as well, to kind of make sense of everything. For me, there's a number of strategies that have helped in order for me to thrive as a gay man living with HIV rather than just survive. So the first one is education. I wanted to know all the facts about HIV and all of the science. So I had lots of discussions with my consultant about what different medications would do, what the side effects would be, looking at some of the medical blogs and things like that. I wanted to know all of the answers. But then education has been twofold. On the flip side, I found that because I live so openly with HIV, people come to me with their questions and I'm happy to answer them. There's also been some cases where a friend of a friend has also been diagnosed with HIV, and I've been able to offer a bit of peer support in those early days in particular. And I don't know, it's been really humbling to help people who have been in the same position, as a lot of the experiences are shared, and it's been a rite of passage almost. And as I'm further down the line on my own journey, it's wonderful to be in that position to help. Peer support is one of the things I found really useful. And when I moved to London, I befriended a group of guys all living with HIV, who are still really good friends now. And having that shared understanding and peer support has been essential for me. Another really key strategy for me has been self-care. So for me, since being diagnosed, that's meant a change in career, a change in pace, and doing things for myself. So I work 4 days a week. I make sure that I eat well and exercise, and just look out for number one more than I would have done before. And it's that investment in yourself. I think one of the most helpful strategies for me has been getting involved with other HIV organisations and charities. So I've trained in kind of peer support to support other people living with HIV, and I've also volunteered at a summer camp for children living with HIV. And I think meeting other people in the same position has helped me kind of frame my own experience and make sense of it more, and come to terms with it and meet some incredible people along the way. I think one of the most unexpected things about recovering from my diagnosis has been how much of a positive influence it's had on my life. And I would say that I'm thriving a lot more than I did pre-diagnosis. And it's definitely set me on a different path, which is really good. I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. So I retrained as a play therapist after being diagnosed, and now I want to support other people living with HIV in a therapeutic capacity. So I'll be starting my training as an adult counsellor this September as well. So there's loads to look forward to. I think the most important thing to remember nowadays is that HIV is a manageable chronic condition, and it's kind of a comma rather than a full stop. And one of the things I really take away from the AIDS epidemic is that if you're living with HIV nowadays, you have a duty to thrive. You've been given this chance that wouldn't have been a possibility 30 years ago, and I don't take that very lightly. So even on my kind of down days or low days, I really take that to heart. My name's Alex Everett. I'm a play therapist and trainee counsellor and a member of It's All About You Wellbeing. Thank you for watching.